I've learned over the years that there are some experiences in life that never truly leave you. They settle somewhere deep in your chest, resurfacing in quiet moments. Late at night, when the house is still, when your thoughts wander back to places you wish you could forget. These are the kinds of memories that don't fade with time. They sharpen for the sake of clarity. I need to mention something important about myself. I have a hearing disability. I'm hard of hearing, and while I've adapted well, there are moments, especially in unfamiliar or tense situations, where I know I miss things others wouldn't. Sounds, warnings, subtle changes in the world around me. That fact has always sat at the back of my mind, but it became terrifyingly relevant about a year ago. At the time, I lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in southern Quebec, right along the edge of a forest. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else, where people waved as they passed, and where nothing ever really happened. I liked it that way. There was comfort in the familiarity, in the predictable calm of the area. During the winter months, I made it a habit to take my dog, Monty, for walks through the forest trails nearby. Monty is a Rottweiler Husky mix, big, energetic, and fiercely loyal. He loved the cold, loved the snow, and loved those walks more than anything. The forest itself wasn't dangerous. The trails were well-worn, simple, and popular with locals, especially dog owners. One afternoon in February, after a late lunch, I decided to take Monty out for a walk to burn off some energy. A fresh layer of snow had fallen overnight, blanketing everything in white. The air was cold but still, the kind of winter quiet that makes the world feel muted. As usual, Monty lost his mind with excitement the moment we turned the corner toward the forest entrance. I let him off his leash once we were inside. I noticed the usual signs: boot prints, paw prints, yellow patches in the snow, evidence that others had already been through earlier in the day. Most people preferred morning walks, especially since the sun set early in winter, so I didn't expect to run into anyone. After about half an hour, we reached a fork in the trail. One path was clearly used, the other completely untouched. Feeling a bit adventurous and confident in my knowledge of the area, I chose the untouched one. I knew where it led, a small clearing I liked to visit. That day, I had brought along a pair of binoculars I'd received for Christmas. I wanted to look for native birds. As I scanned the tree line from the clearing, something caught my eye, a strange shape partially hidden among the trees. When I focused the binoculars, my stomach tightened. It was a blue tarp, beneath it what looked like a makeshift shelter. I stared at it longer than I should have. The idea of someone living out there unsettled me, but it was getting late and the light was already fading. I decided to leave. As we headed back, Monty's behavior changed. He wasn't running ahead like usual. He stayed closer, sniffing the ground intensely, his posture stiff and alert. That's when I noticed the footprints. They were large, much larger than mine. I stopped and compared them to my own boots, turning my foot in the snow just to be sure. They didn't match. And there were no other forks in the trail. Whoever made them had to have passed me at some point. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they'd walked by while I was distracted with the binoculars. It made sense, at least enough that I forced myself to accept it. The forest grew darker as we continued. Then Monty stopped completely and began barking. Deep, aggressive barks aimed directly behind me. I turned. The man stood no more than a meter away. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with charcoal snow pants and a white camouflage jacket. His hands were buried in his pockets. He didn't move. He just stood there. I didn't recognize him. He looked like he was saying something, but I couldn't hear him, couldn't read his lips in the low light. I felt panic bloom in my chest. I tried to gesture that I was hard of hearing, that I needed to go. Eventually, I walked past him, pulling Monty along with me. I made it home around 4:30 p.m. By then, it was completely dark. I went about my evening as usual, convincing myself it was nothing, until the middle of the night. At 3:00 a.m. Monty woke me by licking my hand, something he only did in the mornings. My phone buzzed. A message from my neighbor asked if everything was okay, saying Monty had been barking nonstop. I realized Monty wasn't in my room. I found him downstairs barking hysterically at the patio door. As I approached, the motion sensor light turned on. The man from the forest was standing in my backyard. I didn't hesitate. I stepped back, texted 911. grabbed the machete from under my bed, and barricaded myself in my room with Monty. I watched shadows move beneath the door. I waited for the handle to turn. It never did. When the police arrived, the patio glass was smashed. The gate to the forest was open. The man was gone. I never heard back about the case. I stopped walking in the woods after that. Years later, danger found me again, this time in a completely different way. My name is Ember. I was 16 at the time, living in Illinois with my younger sister, Kate. One December day, we snuck into an R-rated horror movie. Halfway through, my phone rang. It was my dad asking us to bring him lunch to the woods where he worked. Something felt off when he didn't answer our calls, only texts, but we went anyway. At the lake, we found a man wearing my dad's jacket. He turned around smiling, waving my dad's phone. He grabbed my sister. We ran. He grabbed my sister. We ran. Later that night, a message appeared on my phone. I like that your house is lit only by your bedroom TV. I looked out the window. He was there with a gun. An AirTag was later found on our car. He was never caught. And then there was the night I crashed my car during a blizzard in 2021. Alone. Miles from anyone. I heard footsteps, found blood in the snow, a deer slaughtered, and then its severed head placed on my driver's seat. When my dad arrived, it was gone. Only the blood remained. I never called the police. Some things don't need explanations to haunt you forever. All I know is this. Whatever was out there that night knew I was alone. And I don't think it was just trying to scare me.